My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, I came back on because I still have a little bit more to share as I continue to carve, and even with these little angels I have here, I say that there's going to be some extra work to come along to go a little more into the backs of the heads of these little cherubs, and just to show a little bit more of how the little ones from Coffee Tree had already come out, and little ones from Walnut here, but I've kind of got a little more random talking to do as I kind of work on the little backs of the heads and carving out a few other lines. But all I keep noticing as I keep coming back to this is just little lines in some of these walnut ones that I forgot to make, and including just the one that separates over the feet from the legs, and just the little cut that has to be made to go along to that. I tell y'all that I've got so much more to show, so much more to say, and have little things to tell you all as I go about this. Just wanted to say, of all things, that there's little humors that go around on the internet. There's some of these people I follow and learn little interesting things from their posts, and they become little people and things that I start to feel a little bit more inclined to share sometimes, because they're kind of funny people. They kind of get little laughs here and there from my little jokes, and always kind of like to share little laughs with people now and then. Kind of get on there, not really to buy their products, but just to kind of add little senses of humor to the days. Would like to tell you all a little something about a certain person I follow on Instagram, and follow her Facebook profile as well, and her little name on Instagram is Shake Andy Bake. Shake, A-N-D-I-E, Bake. And she has really interesting comments and interesting posts. She'll probably tickle you with some of the funny things she posts. Sometimes I share little laughs and jokes with her and have little laughs come back and all little funny little things she'll come on there and tell you and share with you. I mean, she has quite the sense of humor. I share some of my comments and jokes with her posts. For those of you all who might be women, I'd say that she has some makeup and cosmetics that she sells. That's a really cool thing. I'd like for you all to come to see that one of these days, and you know, that would be pretty cool of you to do. But I'll tell you, the unfortunate thing is that that's not really my type of stuff, so it's not really stuff that I purchase. But sometimes I get on there and just kind of follow people's posts, just because they might occasionally post a little thing or two that might kind of catch my little sense of humor, and be the kind of thing that I'll kind of watch them over. And there's a lot you can learn from these people, and a lot you can learn from what they say and do. It's all just a lot of cool stuff to learn, and I'll be happy to share more of it as it really comes about. And y'all probably know by now there's people these days who get on little devices where they can often share stories and stuff from Instagram. But I mean, I tell y'all, I ain't crazy about using all those mobile devices. I still do most of my stuff on a computer. That's what I started out with, was a computer, so that's what I'm more comfortable with, except for the fact that there are just certain things which are essential to my business that you can't do on a computer. They just about require a phone, and that is taking things like Cash App payments and moving the Cash App payments to your bank account and things like that. That's the kind of thing you just seem like you have to have phones these days to do, and it can be a little bit of a pain to some of us to have to deal with that, but I'd say nonetheless we seem like we can manage it well. Sometimes, just sometimes, those of us who are more business oriented have to kind of change with the times, you know. I just really miss the days when people still carried cash with them to all these craft shows and stuff, and most people could make cash payments. That's not the way it works anymore. Just about everybody's carrying plastic these days, or needing to scan on your PayPal or Venmo or something like that. So I had to kind of get me a special little thing that showed up in my little Facebook feed that kind of gives you a little way to get all those things onto a certain card that you can use. And I'd say that as for how that works, there's a little plastic device I have that kind of has on it the little email address for my Zelle, and for the little QR codes for my PayPal, and for my Venmo and my Cash App. So that's kind of the things we sort of use these days just to kind of get payments about. And you know, there's so much we learn in life. I mean, there's probably no telling what heaven's going to have for us. You know, there's just a lot of stuff we have on earth that we won't have in heaven, and probably the kind of thing which is good for us because it keeps us kind of happy and comfortable on earth. But I tell you, you know, in heaven we're just going to be so happy worshiping God that we won't really have much more need for all that stuff, because the Lord Jesus himself will be there, and we'll probably be much happier there than we will be with anything we do or celebrate here on earth. There's all kinds of nice restaurants that open up here in Lexington. I say that there's little neat places to go. They show up randomly, and sometimes, just sometimes, I get a little bit so much attached to a facility, and when a certain place I used to go to in that facility leaves and another one comes, I might even go back in there to eat sometimes at whatever's taken its place, just because I might love the facility so much. Sometimes a different business might kind of construct it a different way and kind of use it and do it a different way. That's all the little neat things we learn about just how all that really works. And I think about all the differences that I've had to see in places that I've been, and all the little ways they've had to change. Like I know when I was a kid in that Southland shopping center, there used to be a little fabric store called Peace Goods. And as a kid, I mean, my parents took me in and out of that craft store a lot. My mom did, my grandmother did, and one time we were coming out of that Peace Goods place, and I saw a little that on the floor mat, on the doormat, the little thing that's at the front of inside the door, it was plastic and had a little W in it. I asked my mom what that was, and she said that was from where it used to be a Walgreens when she was a kid, from before I was born. And I found out in those days Walgreens wasn't a drugstore, it was actually a dime store. And I heard all about how that in those days they used to have dime stores. This was just so much before my time, so I never knew a dime store, but I'd say, unless probably an exception would be maybe when I was a kid in the early 80s, over in that Alexandria Drive shopping center, there used to be a store called TG&Y. I didn't know what kind of store it was at the time, but as I got older, you know, my mom told me it was a dime store and what it was, and I'd say for sure, you know, that later on that little TG&Y closed and it became a store called McCrory's, and McCrory's closed too. Can't really recall exactly what facility it was in, or exactly just exactly in what place it was located there, but I look back and just see that even the McCrory store's been closed for a long time, and probably it was still the 80s when even it closed, and all the little things about it. And what I was told as a kid was that it started out as a dime store, and when people started kind of selling things for $100, that was when people stopped buying from there, and it ran out of business. And it's kind of like how the Dollar Tree, for example, I mean, when I was a kid and in my early teens, the Dollar Tree was just a dollar store. Everything there was just $1. But these days, some things have gone up a little bit. The cheapest things there have gone, I mean, one time, the cheapest things there were $1.25. And I think more recently I discovered that the cheapest things went up to $1.50. Some things went up to $3, some things went up to $5, but it's still called the Dollar Tree. One time when I was shopping there and talking to the clerk, I mean, not to get on politics or anything, you know, I don't like politics myself, but he said it had something to do with Biden's administration. I won't say that for a fact, and we're not going to debate on that. Don't put anything about that in the comments, because that's not something I'm here to discuss with you all, but just a little comment I heard. So I say, of all things, that maybe these little cherry cherubs, they came out with a little bit more thinness in their head than the others did, but I'd say a little work does us a little good now and then. I'll tell you all a little bit about tomorrow. I'm going to a homemakers club in Richmond for a craft show. I've got things taken care of on my phone. Hopefully my mobile data works. I've printed out my MapQuest directions to take along just in case it does not, and just in case so that I will know what little roads to speak into my phone and whatnot. So that's just a little thing that just needs to be taken care of here and there and now, and all things that work in little ways despite what we do. I tell you all that I just got little ways to go about things and little things to learn, and so much to find out, but I've driven around Richmond a few times. Think I have gotten to know it well. There's probably some cities here in Kentucky and towns here in Kentucky that I probably haven't been over enough times to really be able to know where they were or what all is mapped out about them, but just come on to say that I'm sure I'm going to find my way because I've got enough printed out. And back in the days, you know, MapQuest directions were all we had. I had to print them out and follow them. Other people just had to have somebody to drive with them and give them directions. But thank you all for coming on. Wish you all the best. Stay in touch for the future. And thanks. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.